this tool maps the demand and supply locations and also maps the infrastructure locations, which will tie the for this demand and supply. Go to the next slide. On the agenda, I would first try to set up the context by talking about the objective of this graphic tool and what has gone behind, because once you look at the tool, you will just see the maps and the numbers, but what has gone behind, very briefly, because if I start explaining in detail, it might take half a day. So I would briefly touch upon what has gone behind the tool in making this tool, what assumptions, analysis has been done. And then we would take you to a demo of the tool, wherein we will explain and give you a walkthrough to the tool. And then we would intend to give you two sample cases. One case is where, let's say, I as an investor who is looking to set up a green hydrogen project in India, and we are looking to identify the location. So how our tool will be helpful for such a user, while the another case is for the user who intend to set up a green hydrogen plant in India for the purpose of exports from India. So these two cases we will take and give you the walkthrough on the tool, that how this tool will be useful for these two sort of stakeholders. This is the whole agenda, and as I said, I take over about 30 minutes to complete this. To give a warm-up to the discussion and bring everybody on the page, I'm sure everybody on the call knows the importance of hydrogen. And as Pooja started with, this is the buzzword today, and everybody is interested in knowing more, setting up projects, making investment in the segment. And with that view, our National Green Hydrogen Mission was set up by the Government of India, and it was set up with a 17.5 thousand crore rupee envisaged investment. And the objective was not only to promote the demand, but promote production, demand and export. All kinds of value chain was expected to be promoted through this green hydrogen mission. In the early stage of development, as we all on the call know, that today green hydrogen is a bit costlier, and to keep the cost in check, it is also desired that we don't replicate the infrastructure. And towards that, government has also initiated the incentives for creating a hydrogen hubs, which will create an ecosystem so that the infrastructure is not replicated and demand is catered to wherever it is existing. The primary focus is on the creating a nexus between energy, ports, industrial hubs, and all sort of demand clusters. So the primary focus of this hydrogen mission, and further on the initiatives which have been announced, like be it site or be it other policies by the state governments as well, the focus is to create an ecosystem which combines the demand centers, all the industries, mobility, port, storages, and all. So with that in view, the objective of this tool was to give a sense that whosoever intends to, the stakeholder, whosoever comes to the portal, he can visualize where the demand exists and who could be the major customers, what size of demand is existing, say 2022, and what it could be in 2030, and where it can be supplied from. If I look at the supply, what is the supply sources? And when I am saying supply sources, it does not mean the only potential of renewable energy, but also the projects which are already existing, the project which are already under construction, or the proposed project. So combining all those, this tool gives a very good visualization of existing of the demand and supply of hydrogen over a period of next 6-7 years. Expected outcome, as you can see in the map, and we will give you a demo to the tool as well as we go along. We have marked it in a clear term that where the green hydrogen demand exists, how green hydrogen is going to overtake the gray hydrogen, how much percentage of gray hydrogen could be converted in green hydrogen, and all sort of analysis which one would need at the initial stage of project planning. So, so with that, when I come to the specifics of this tool, When we are looking at locations, the locations has been identified based on the location of the industry, because the major consuming sectors, wherever they are located, they would be more they would be preferred by the suppliers, because as we know the hydrogen transportation today is costlier. So the main idea remains that wherever possible you go as close to your customer as possible. So that this tool maps the demand and supply considering the location of the industry, the potential of renewable energy, natural gas pipeline, because natural gas pipeline can be repurposed to supply hydrogen as well. And then wherever we have ammonia storage facility and ammonia consumption is considered in the location of the industry. So both of them have been considered. And also where the iron and steel industry exists, where the cement industry exists, all has been taken care of. Then all the sectors which are envisaged to consume hydrogen by say 2030 has been considered. And as we all know, refinery and fertilizer are seemingly low-hanging fruit, so that has obviously been factored in. But based on a high-level techno-economic analysis, we have also seen that when the sectors, hard-to-abate sectors like say steel, cement, or aluminium, by what time they would be able to start consuming hydrogen. So, so to stagger the demand, because the demand of green hydrogen in a steel sector and a cement sector would not come in say 2023 or 24. It's still not there. So when it would come, to do that, we have considered this techno-economic analysis, and based on that, we have staggered the demand. When it comes to the capacities of the industries and all other demand centers, the capacities have been mapped as per the existing capacity, and also the capacity which has been under construction, and also the proposed one till 2030, whichever we are expecting to complete till 2030. Those capacities have been considered, and for and with that capacity, we have analyzed the demand growth for both gray and green hydrogen and ammonia in the various sectors from 22 to 2030. To do that, we have obviously considered all the government policy, not only pertaining to green hydrogen, but also pertaining to the renewable energy like solar or wind, whatever policies are there which is going to fuel investment, those have been considered. The company plans, all these refining, fertilizer, steel, cement companies have been analyzed threadbare, and we have looked at their capacity additions which they are going to do till 2030. So those have been considered, announced projects, whichever these companies have announced. And then when it comes to the pipeline network, we have considered the pipeline network which has been announced by the regulator. And the pipeline which are proposed, all have been considered to arrive at the capacities and the demand growth potential. So, and with all this, once we present the report to you, you will see all these reports can be downloaded from our tool with all these analysis. That if you want to look at the demand in hydrogen, green hydrogen in refineries, say 2022, and you give all the particulars. There are certain filter and parameters which are there, and if you put them, then you will be able to readily available report, which can be downloaded in the form of Excel, PDF, or CSV format, which could be quite usable for any of the stakeholders in this. And with this, I would request Aneeb to go to the tool and give you a tour of this tool, so that everybody has a good understanding of look and feel the utility of the tool. So Aneeb, over to you with the tool.
So let me jump directly to the tool itself. The tool, as you can see, the link is here. It's h2hubs.in. Once you click on the link and you land on a page, so this is the landing page down there, and you can press on get started, and once you press on it, you can arrive on this page, a page that looks like this. Here on this page, this is what is our map page, and this is where most of the visualization activity is undertaken. Within the map, if I go to the right top of my window, you can see the show filter button, and in the show filter button you can see different types of maps. You can see a detailed map. So basically we have incorporated 3 maps within the tool. One is the detailed map, the other thing is a bubble map, and then heat maps. You can also see that a time lapse of 2022 to 2030 has been incorporated. You can access the demands in sort of present, and you can also access the demands in maybe 2030. The sectors, as explained by Raman earlier, these are the sectors: aluminium, cement, fertilizer industry, refinery, steel, and long distance shipping. These are the sectors that have been analyzed, and the demands pertaining to these sectors have been incorporated into our graphic tool. Likewise, what we have we had undertaken an activity to sort of highlight the type of demand that would be present in various sectors. For an example, in a sector like refinery, it is not logical to have a type of demand which is green ammonia demand. So therefore, for each sector, there are different types of demands. And if you hover over these balls here on the right hand side, you can see which demand pertains to which sector. For example, on this green hydrogen selection option, this is applicable for refineries in fertilizer sector. Likewise, gray is also for refineries in fertilizer sectors. Green ammonia is only for fertilizers. Latent hydrogen demand is for steel, cement, and aluminium. And latent ammonia demand has been dissected for the long distance shipping option. So a few more words on this demand type. What I wanted to highlight here is that what latent hydrogen demand here means that there are some sectors, for example, steel, refinery, and steel, aluminium, and cement. These sectors are sort of not expected to offtake green hydrogen directly within this decade. Therefore, what we have done is calculated the inherent potential of these sectors to offtake the hydrogen demand within themselves. Therefore, we have named these the demands as latent demand potentials. And likewise, for long distance shipping, the demand is not expected to be immediate, but what we have done is we have calculated the inherent or the latent potential within these sectors. Now, the other thing is that the logistics and infrastructure. Within logistics and infrastructure, ammonia storages and natural gas pipelines have been highlighted. And within renewables, solar, wind, and resources, what we have done is we have indicated the iron ore mines. A quick snapshot here I'll highlight. For example, if I press the aluminium sector, you can see the different locations of them. Similarly, cement, similarly, fertilizer, refinery, steel, long distance shipping. So these are basically the plants that have been mapped across India, and the corresponding demands are herein. Now let's go to the main crux of this discussion right now. I have cleared the filter here, and two more functionalities that are present on the display is that show filters and show legends. So for different types of maps, you can assess the different types of legends that will be very useful to understand what is being shown on the map. For now, let me hide this. Let me start with the detailed map here, and let me take an example. For example, in the detail map, if I take the fertilizer sector, so you can see the different fertilizer plants that are present in India. If I click on one of the fertilizer plants, for example, this one here, you can see a banner coming out, and this showcases the information about this plant. You can see the sector which is highlighting that it's a fertilizer sector. The company is NFL, and the plant is NFL Batinda, city Punjab, state Punjab, and region Batinda. Now you can also see the output of this plant is urea, and right now what demand is showcasing is gray ammonia demand. You can see the capacity of the plant. This is fertilizer capacity of the plant, which is 500,000 metric tons approximately, and the annual demand, which indicates the gray ammonia demand as of now, as of 2022, it is 250 kilotons. Also the coordinates of the same plant. Now for an example, if I switch the bubble to say 2030 and go again to this plant, you can see the parameters have changed, and you can see the gray ammonia demand slightly changed. If I also press say green ammonia button here and check this bubble again, check this banner again, you can see the annual demand of green ammonia. Right now you can see the green ammonia indicated here. It has been showcased to be 2.25 kt in 2030, and it is logical that at present, say in 2022 or 2023, the green ammonia demand is not there. And if I do the same thing, it will also sort of showcase that thing. You can see that green ammonia demand in the year 2022 is 0 kt. Furthermore, let's do a similar exercise in case for the same plant in bubble format. You can see if I press bubble and let me clear a filter for a moment. If I press bubble and press on 2022, click on the fertilizer, you can see right now these orange bubbles. And let me highlight the legend of the map as well. You can see right now this is showing the plant capacities, but what if I happen to press gray hydrogen demand and green hydrogen demand? So you can see the bubbles corresponding to these two types of demand within the fertilizer sector. If I click on this bubble for our sample case, if I click on this bubble, you can see the capacity right now, and what you can also see that what the gray hydrogen demand is right now. And if I toggle the switch to 2030, you can see the color of the bubble slightly changing, and also now showing what green, how much green is incorporated. So for this same plant, you can see in 2030, gray hydrogen demand is expected to be 42.76 kt, and annual green hydrogen demand is expected to be 2525 kt. Likewise, this is mostly about this map. The third thing is, now I will switch to the same sector and I will switch to the heat map. You can right now see that in the heat map, I have pressed the fertilizer, and let me clear the filter for once so that I start from the beginning. For the fertilizer sector, if I press this, so right now it is showing us the say in 2022 year, it is showing us the installed capacities of these plants, or the production numbers of different fertilizers within these states. So you can see in Punjab, it's approximately 3.96 million metric tons of fertilizers that are produced in Punjab. And corresponding to those, if we press say gray hydrogen consumption, which is happening as of now, it is, you can see 87.11 kt. Now if I toggle to 2030, you can see that it is changing. And if I also press green hydrogen demand, so you can see it has changed and showcasing the overall total demand. If I untoggle say the gray hydrogen demand, you can see the overall demand of green hydrogen in Punjab is expected to be 4.37 kt, and this is corresponding to all the plants that would be present in Punjab. So what heat map essentially does is it gives us an assessment of a state level. That's a top bird's view assessment for each states. A bubble map provides us the volumes, the critical volumes within states, and the detailed map provides us the locations of plants and the other details of the associated plants. Let me clear the filter and move again to the detail map. Next, if I move ahead and because as I have already shown these sectors, if I say we can take an example of steel sector, for example. For the steel sector, the maps have been plotted, and you can see the maps right now. It will show whatever latent hydrogen demand is there. So right now it's showing to be nil, but let me press like this and press one of the maps. Okay, so right now it is showing to be say these are the plants, say BO plants, so and showing that present within the blast furnace plants the demand isn't there. And whatever assessments have highlighted that within the blast furnace, basic oxygen furnace, till 2030 the demand is not going to be too substantial. If any demand comes, it would be in gas based DRI furnaces, and that's where maybe some demand might come, but it's not yet techno-economics do not sort of make it viable as of date. Clearing the filter again. If I go to the logistics and infrastructure part, we can showcase the natural gas pipeline availability within India. So you can see that there are three types of pipelines right now. One is the pipeline that is which are highlighted in green color. These are the existing pipelines. The other are in yellow color, or yellow dots you can see. These pipelines are partially commissioned, and the third category is the under construction pipelines. If we press any of these numbered bubbles here, for example here, so it will highlight this pipeline, and this banner pops up which showcases that what pipeline it is, what's its name. Say this is Srikakulam and Angul pipeline. It's under construction, the entity is GAIL, and the length is 690 kilometers, followed by the capacity of 7 MMSCMD. Likewise for here, for this pipeline, if I press this, this is a pipeline which is between Malavaram, Bhopal, Bilwara and Vijaypur. The pipeline is partially commissioned. Its entity is GITL. The length is 1811 kilometers and 78 mmscmd capacity. Similarly, for the pipelines that are already constructed, say the green one, this is Dukli Maharajganj, and it's an existing pipeline with GAIL, and the length is 5.2 kilometers. Similarly here, for all the pipelines, you can also always sort of click on these. It will showcase the pipeline and provide you with the required capacities and lengths. Clearing the filter. For ammonia storage, if I click here, you can see the ammonia storage is available across India. If you go to the detail map, you can click in one and it will provide you the information. Say, for example, this one here, it is in Maharashtra. The city is Navi Mumbai and the owner of this storage is JNPT. It's at a port, and the address is this. And also you can see the capacity of this ammonia storage is approximately 15,000 metric tons. Likewise, and one other thing you can do is you can simultaneously press both the things. You can have this natural gas and ammonia storage both simultaneously working together. If I clear this, now coming to the solar and wind part, so these are the solar plants that have been sort of indicated in the map. If you press at one of these, so it will give you the information about the plant and what state it is, where the location and the capacity. Likewise with the wind plants, so you can see the wind plants here. These are the wind plants, the details here. Regarding solar and wind plants, we can also check them in terms of bubbles. For example, here you can see the solar and wind plants in bubble format, and if you click here, you can see the location and what type it is, what plant it is. For example, here you can see a sort of a hybrid plant. You can see 20, it's wind, and so the wind fraction here is 2800 megawatts and the solar fraction is 1741 megawatts. Likewise for wind and solar. And also you can see the change between 2022 and 2030 here. You can see the difference, and the bubble size actually becomes so large that the previous sizes shrink significantly. So it shows that India's ambitions regarding the increase in solar and wind capacity in the coming 6-7 years. Likewise, we can also play with the heat maps, and you can see the heat map available within these states. So 9 of the states that have been assessed cover, say, 90% of the wind capacities and more than 80% of the solar capacities in India. So you can see the major states, and you can use the toggling effect to sort of indicate that how the heat maps are changing. Furthermore, this is mostly regarding solar, wind, and what we indicate here. Let me clear the filter again. Yeah. In addition to this, the iron ore mines have also been indicated across India. You can see the main iron ore mines which are across India, right from, say, Odisha to, say, the eastern Karnataka. So these are the major iron ore mines that have been mapped. So this is mostly about the maps. Next, what we can do is I'll clear the filter, and if we go on these 3 dashes on the top left, we can indicate the different other functionalities. So right now we are at the map section. We can then press dashboard and go to the dashboard. If I press dashboard, so this window you will observe to open. For example, the utility of the dashboard is that it gives us the demand in terms of years. So basically it will indicate what is the demand in 2022 and how it's going to change till 2030. The other thing is the other functionality of the say this pictogram or this graphic is that you can say highlight a single type. So if I press here on this, so this will make the gray hydrogen disappear and only green hydrogen demand say prominent. And if I say re-click this and then send it back, so only the gray will be there. In addition, you can see if I click here on the top three dashes here, we can download these pictures in form of, say, PNGs or SVGs or SCSV formats. Likewise, for, say, the fertilizer sector. In the fertilizer sector, what we have done is green ammonia demand as well as the hydrogen demand within the sector have been estimated. Green for ammonia production, the having hydrogen is a must. Hydrogen is a critical feedstock for ammonia production. So we have felt that it was imperative to show both the things, both gray hydrogen, green hydrogen demand, and corresponding gray ammonia, green ammonia demand, using the suitable conversion factors. The same functionalities as we saw earlier, the refineries, if I press one of these things, so the other becomes prominent, and also the functionalities of downloading the image can also be accessed here. With the hard to abate sectors, you can see that the latent demands have been indicated, which are not likely to be achieved till 2030, but due to some miracle or some techno-economic breakthrough, if it ever happens within these 5-7 years, then these are the latent potentials that the sectors can tap now. Finally, going to the if I also now indicate back here, if I press the three dashes on the top left and go to the reports, now here we can assess the downloadable reports. For these downloadable reports, I have already opened the window. So these downloadable reports can be sort of accessed here. And if I the good thing about here is that we have already built in some filters that you can easily sort of segregate the sectors. For example, if I press on say refinery and then select say a state of maybe Gujarat, and maybe not demarcate in terms of year or demand type. So demand type, what we have done is we have provide for refinery as gray and green hydrogen are possible demands. So we can select any of these and then go ahead, but let me select both of these right now. So if I click show, you can see these demands popping up. So these are both gray hydrogen demands and green hydrogen demands. So you can check them in terms of their location. So basically this is the sort of the written down version of what our maps have showcased already. These information can also be downloaded from say here. You can download it in terms of Excel files, CSV files, PDFs, or then directly print. If you say, for example, if you download it in terms of Excel, so it will open in such a format here as I am showing. So in this format, the demands you will be able to see. A similar thing can be done with the other demand types. For example, renewables. You can do the same thing with these. You can do the same thing with say pipelines and ammonia storage as well. So this is mostly the tool, and this is mostly about the tool and the demand sections. I've taken you briefly through them. Next, what I'll do is that I'll sort of showcase two sample test cases, sort of quickly indicate that how a developer can use this tool to their benefit. Okay, so for example, if let me take the first example. If a developer who wants to cater to the local market, how he can say one of the many permutations and combinations. I will show you one of those to indicate how he can access this tool. So the developer, if he wants to develop a project to cater to the local demand, so probably the developer will first go to the heat map and check the states which have good solar and wind capacities. So probably for our example, you can see Rajasthan, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh are rich in solar. Then what they can do is say initially, and then they can say how it transitions to say the future demands. So these are the rich states in terms of demands, and based on the solar potential or available capacities or state targets within next 5-7 years. So probably shortlist 3 states, for example, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Andhra Pradesh. Once these 3 states are sort of shortlisted, the user can go and then move to the detail part. Let me clear the filter. Then move to the detail part. Once the detail part is moved into, say, let's assume that the user wants to sort of cater to refining and fertilizer markets. Then they will sort of press these 2 buttons here. This will sort of indicate the majority of the clusters. So clustering can be easily seen from the details section. Here you can see that Gujarat, for example, there are multiple clusters that are formed in Gujarat. Let me go in. So within these clusters, what they can see is that one can be this cluster, the other can be here in Vadodara, and the other is Jamnagar cluster. Within these clusters, if they want to check up a demand, so then they can move to the bubble map and they can easily see what is the gray and green hydrogen demand within these clusters. And maybe probably go ahead and maybe zoom in a bit more and see in details which sort of demands are existing here in terms of details. They can also download these information and sort of make a selection for their location. Now this is sort of a brief overview of a local demand, catering to local demand. The other possibility is that if the developer wants to cater to a foreign market as well, so the logically what they would do is they would again first go to the heat map, look at the heat maps and see how the renewables are working. Then probably among the coastal regions, they will go and say check in details which are the clusters within these coastal areas, so that at least if they build within a cluster, that is their at least infrastructure cost may be minimized. Then once again, what they can do is they can go down and check, say, the ammonia storages, and checking the ammonia storage sort of would indicate that if the ammonia storages are high, this gives us a good indication that the ports have the available facilities to sort of indicate or extrapolate it to even further. So then based on these, the developer can sort of select one of the port cities, or maybe one of the port cities with right facilities, and plan accordingly. So what I'll further emphasize here, that the sector is obviously in its early stages of its development, and is ever changing, and it's ever growing. And we believe that this tool provides a good starting point for the interested stakeholders to sort of delve into the sector even more and drive the sector forward. Uh, I will now pass the floor back to Rolf. Thank you very much.
Okay, let us just summarize again for people what this is about. I'm trying to make it simplified so that people know what this tool is good for. Hydrogen is complex, and there are many different sectors that can use hydrogen, either as a gas or as ammonia. That's one of the complexities, and that's why Neep said at the beginning, not everybody needs ammonia, some just need hydrogen. So this tool is there really to design for developers, but also for state governments, really to plan where do they want to make it work. The people may ask, why is the gas pipeline there? And that's because hydrogen will be in competition to gas. So like if you're going through your spatial planning exercises, you know that you're close to a gas pipeline, your cost profile may be different. That's why that is there. There are different applications. So if you're looking for domestic consumption, that's why we have the industries there. If you're looking at export, this is just more for hydrogen geeks. But we assume, at least between IGEF and PwC, we assume that hydrogen will not be exported in gasified or liquefied form. So we may be correct, we may be not. That's just our basic assumption. And that's why we just said, if it's going to be exported, it will be in ammonia. And for export, you need a port. That's why I have the ports there. And therefore, this tool is really, it takes the time to get through actually the beauty of the amount of data and options that you have. So it's either for domestic use or for export. It takes into account that while hydrogen is cool in the energy transition, you also have to beat the existing alternative, which is existing. Unless you're cheaper, it's going to be hard to convince people. You have different industries. It can be used in chemicals and refineries, especially. It can be used in fertilizer. It can be used in steel. Name a few. It can be used for transport. It can be used for export. So a huge amount of complexities there. And just to summarize again why we thought this tool is good, because it's good for developers, but also for state governments.